So I'm like, he probably got the whole crib bugged. Like, he probably been listening to everything that's been going on in the crib. So I went on ahead. I took all the little monitors. I hopped on the cab on the counter. Now, where the cabinets was at, they was very high, but at the top, it was like a little deep. I don't know, you could like just put stuff there, but it was very deep. So I just took them, all the monitors, and I just dropped them down there. I hopped off the counter. I'm like, I was sitting there in disbelief. I'm like, I can't believe it's like, that's weird. That's nutty, right? So I go on ahead, I grabbed my phone and I started texting Mighty Soul. I'm like, I think he had the whole house bugged. So she texts me back like, what you mean? I'm like, I think he was able to hear everything that we was saying, or at least see what we was doing or saying. She like, what? And so he texts me, Mike texts me while I'm texting Mighty Soul, because Mighty Soul still had a couple more hours to do at work. He texts me like, is everything all right? I'm like, I text him back like, yeah, everything fine. I'm like, you need help at work? Is everything all right with you? He like, yeah. He like, I got a double today. He like, I probably ain't gonna be able to be, at my place until like 4 in the morning just to shower and go to work. Like, he just texted me. So he like, he like, is you gonna stay at the spot? He like, I just need to know. I'm like, yeah, I might. So I'm texting him back like, yeah, I might need to stay at the spot tonight. He like, all right. I'm like, but it's just gonna be difficult because I'm like, it ain't no water. And I'm like, and it ain't no lights. He like, it ain't no lights. He like, how it ain't no lights? I'm like, yeah, it's none of the lights is working. But mind you, I'm cool because it's daytime right now. So when it become nighttime, I just probably got to go to bed or use my phone as a light. I don't got no candle or nothing. It wasn't like it was stores around there. I was like basically just out there, you feel me? So boom, he like, wait, let me hit my ex up. You know what I'm saying? He like, let him hit his baby mama or whatever up. He was like, and see if her lights is on. So I'm just sitting there like, oh, okay. But then it dawned on me, like when I first came in, the hallway lights was on, but why mine ain't on? You know what I'm saying? I was thinking like maybe because I ain't put my name in the lights and they finally cut it off, or whatever the case can be. So boom, he going on ahead, he gets off the phone, like stop texting me. So I'll go back to texting Mighty Soul. So I was like, yo, I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. And so she like, well, don't stay, like she telling me like, don't stay there. I'm like, but I moved all the monitors. I'm like, I hit them. She like, okay. She like, I'm gonna come straight over after work. I'm like, yeah, you got to remember though. I'm texting like, you got to remember, I ain't got no lights and we ain't got no water. She like, that's okay. That's fine. She like, I'll make sure we good. I'm like, all right, cool. So she say, he asked me just a few minutes ago. She texted me telling me this. She like, he asked me just a few minutes ago if I wanted to stop at his second job at Port Mills and have a drink with him before his shift. So I'm like, well, if you want to, I'm like, you should go. She was like, no. She like, I don't want to hang with him because he do too much. She like, I used to hang with Mike. She like, it's a long story. She like, I'll tell you. She like, but Colleen, which was the other girl, was that was his other friend that was working at Starbucks. She was like, she went yesterday and she said she might go for a drink today. She said she don't know. So I was like, all right. I'm like, all right, that's cool. She was like, you want to go? I'm like, no. I'm like, I don't want to go. I'm like, I'm gonna just stay here. So boom, she like, I'll see you when I get out of work. So I'm done texting her, boom. So I'm just sitting there like, man, what I'm gonna do? I'm like, I'm hungry. Like, I don't know where I'm gonna eat at. Like, I don't know that area really. I was far out from the job. I only knew like around the job area and my old area. So I was like, man, I'm gonna tell Mighty Soul to pick me up something to eat. So all of a sudden, Mike was like, well, she said her lights on. She said she cut the lights off up there because she said she didn't know that you was renting out. She just thought that you was just out, you was just a friend and you was just crashing there. I'm like, just crashing there? Why you didn't communicate that with her? Matter of fact, why you didn't communicate that we had another bodyguard slash landlord slash no? Why she got that power to cut the lights off? So I said, you know what? I said, it's cool. I said, after tonight, I said, I just stay. I said, I just stay. He like, no. I told her to call and get the lights cut back on. He like, I'm going to make sure. He like, I'll make a stop there later. I'm like, all right, cool. I kid you not. As time came, it came like 7 p.m. Now, Mighty Soul, have stopped at her crib to grab some extra stuff and to come over. So Marisol came over. Now still, Marisol, where she stayed at the time, I didn't know where she stayed, but she stayed far because she used to tell me like, I'm not going to be there until 2 hours. So I was like, dang, that's really, really far. So she's like, but I'll see you in a little bit. I'm like, just be safe. So boom, when she arrived, she come through the back way. I was like, why Mike ain't hit me up? I was just sitting there thinking like, he's supposed like the light still ain't on. So she like, I got candles. So she lit up these candles. So I'm calling Mike. And calling Mike. He is not, what type of landlord not picking up? You're supposed to be my landlord. He not picking up. So he texts me. He like, oh, I'm in my second gig. I'm like, I still ain't got no lights. He like, for real? He like, she said she called the light company. They normally cut it right on. He like, they probably cut it on by tomorrow. I'm like, man, I ain't got no water still. He like, I got to come over there and check it. I'm like, you supposed to came today. You know, I'm texting him. So he calls me. He like, look, I'm at work. Like, straight like that. He like, I can't really have my phone on the floor. So but the way he was talking at me, he was talking like if he was frustrated. Like, if I'm the wrong person. So I end up hanging up in his face straight up. Somebody saw like, you know what? Let's just go to my place. I'm like, go to your place. She like, yeah. I'm like, no, let's just stay here. I'm like, it's late. I'm like, it's going to take 2 hours to get back to your place. She like, all right, boom. We all good, right? We all good. That's the plan. All right. We just going to stay there. So we stayed there. We spent the night. We got up, did the same thing. I used cold water, got myself together, did a bird bath. She was like, she taking her stuff, going home. She was actually off that day, right? So boom, I'm at work. I'm working. Right? And I'm heated. So Mike comes in late. One of the other supervisors, they open the store. So Mike comes in late. He looks zooted. He looks, to my eyes is red. This dude looks zooted to the point when he came in and started working on the floor, the customer was like, because he was the new manager. All the customers knew Nicole and Kate and me. You know what I'm saying? And Patrick and everybody else. They just knew he was a new manager. And so they was like looking at him. And so they used to ask me like, why he looked like he looked at stone. Like he looked at like really out of it. His eyes was red. It looked like his pupil was dilated. So, you know, I was like, you good? He like, yeah. He's like, long night, you know, I'll be doing those 2 jobs. So I'm just looking at him, right? So I'm working. So I say, hey, you gonna stop over tomorrow or today or any day? He like, oh, he like, you're funny. He like, no, I'm gonna stop over there today. He like, when I go to the bank, he like, I'll stop over there. So he like, I just need you to cover the shift. I'm like, all right, I ain't got nowhere to be. I ain't trying to be there. I ain't got nowhere to be. My place ain't set up. You know, it's pretty much, I'm basically just staying in a abandoned crib to make it look for me. So I'm like, all right. He like, yeah, just give me an hour or 2. I'm like, all right. So boom, the time started ticking. Boom, he left. He went there, right? So I'm still working at the shift. Boom, 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 boom. So he comes in now, 2 hours later, exact. Still looks zooted than what he looked when he left. I don't know what's going on, but we'll get there. So he like, hey, he like, you can clock out. So I clocked out. I went in the back. I grabbed my jacket. So I'm like, he was working the floor. I'm like, hey, Mike. Because he didn't say, like, give me no feedback or nothing. I'm like, hey, Mike. So he ignoring me. Just working. He like, wait, I got customers. I'm like, what? I don't like when people talk to me like that. I would definitely respond to you disrespectfully. I'm like, what? He like, hold on. So he started ringing up the customers and doing their drinks because at the time, it was just 2 people left. It was just him and another person. So it's kind of picking up. And I could have helped, but I was kind of mad that he responded like that. And they waiting on somebody else. They waiting on another employee. But that's going to be like another 15 minutes before this next employee come. So he finally come to me and I was like, hey, so the lights, the water, he like, did you remove anything out the crib? He like, because you can't move stuff because stuff is meant there for a reason. So I didn't know at first what he was getting at. So I was like, wait, what? I'm like, it ain't nothing in there to move. I'm like, you got tools in there, a ladder in there. You got, you know, plastic all over the floor. You got paint there. You know, you just got a lot of stuff that you're supposed to be getting to work. Like, you know, I'm just expressing myself. So he like, no, he like anything. Like, he like smoke monitors, anything. So then it dawned on me. I'm like, oh, he talking about the monitors. Oh. So I said, well, if it's my place and I want to do something different, I should be able to do that. He like, yeah, but just never do that again. And he like, please put back whatever you took down. That's what he said. Please put back whatever you took down. I said, okay, I got you. He like, and make sure you put it back where it belongs. I'm like, and where it belongs? He like, on the wall. I said, no, you can put it back where it belongs. I said, how about this? You don't even got to worry about it. I said, I don't have to rent from there. And so he said, oh, you don't want to rent from there no more? He said, because you already paid for your month, right? Now, he told me this. I already paid for my month. So I said, okay, so can I get my lights? Can I get my water? He said, I said, I got you. She said she going to make sure she do it. I said, okay. He said, the lights on and working there now. I said, all right, cool. I went there. No lights on, right? So I'm like, okay, now I'm heated. But when I get there, I cut on the water is working. The hot water is working. So I said, okay, I kind of calmed down. So Mighty Soul, she hit me up. She said, hey, she said, see, I missed you by a little bit. I said, what you mean? I said, I told you that I was going to be working late. I was leaving straight up out of there. She said, well, okay, well, meet me, by the job. I said, well, I'm over here at Mike's spot. She said, just meet me by the job. I'm like, oh, all right, here I come. So boom, I meet her over there by the job. But when I get there by the job, she's nowhere like out in the front. She's inside of Starbucks. And Mike is still there. He's about to get ready to get off because it's finna be the night people. So he said, oh, yeah, I love being here. So I was like, come on, you ready? He like, oh. So we just walked straight out. We didn't even say nothing to him. We just walked straight out. And so she said, you gonna spend the night at my house? I said, all right. So we get on the train, we holding hands, I'm saying? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna spend the night. Like, I never been in her crib before. So when we get off the train and we get like several blocks away from her crib, she said, look, I have brothers. She said, I have one older brother and one younger brother. She said, I got a sister too. She said, and my mom and dad, they all stay in the house. I was like, she said, I stay with them. I'm like, oh, you stay with your parents? I was like, okay, that's cool. She like, look, my dad knows the house, and sometimes he always be in the kitchen. My room is by the kitchen. She said, so I'm going to open the door. When I open the door, I'm going to go first, and then you going to go up next. She said, because my little brother going to run up and want to hug me. So I don't want him to see you and then tell my dad. I said, okay, cool. She said, I'm going to crack my room door open. You just run straight to my room. I'm like, where's your room? She like, you're going to come up the stairs and just go straight to the left. I said, okay. So boom, she went first. And I'm just like, when we got there, she opened up the door. That's what she said. And boom, I'm waiting, right? She flags me. She like, and I hurry up. I go upstairs and her little brother is running and she running towards her brother and I run straight in her room. And I just had, now when I get inside her room, it's like this, I'm talking about like this. She had like a twin bed. It was very high. She had like all these paintings, all these sculptures, all these books. She didn't have no TV. It was like a real small room, but it was dope. So she comes in, she had the little lock thing on her door. I'm like, hey, your room pretty cool. She like, yeah. I'm like, man, these sculptures are nice. She said, yeah, this is made out of glass, and this is made out of tree. She like out of the tree, the stems, the sticks and stuff. I said, oh, that's cool. I'm like, that's dope. She said, yeah, I made that. I'm like, you did these sculptures and paintings? She like, yeah, she had lights in her ceiling, like lights hanging out. It was really dope. Like, it was really, really dope. Her room was like artwork. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. She like, wait until the nighttime. She like, when my lights come on, it's going to be pretty cool. So she like, are you hungry? I'm like, yeah. She said, so you're going to have to eat Hispanic food. I'm like, well, I'm Puerto Rican and Indian. So she like, yeah, but it's different from. I'm like, okay, well, try me. So she like, all right, I'm going to bring you something. So she brought me corn and she brought me this meat. Now, it looked like pork roast. It looked like roast. So I'm eating it. Right? So I'm tasting the texture. I'm like, man, it's so tender. She was like looking at me. She like, you got to have a tortilla. And I'm like, I don't eat bread. She like, you got to try it with it. So I'm like, why is it so tender like this? I'm like, because I know it ain't roast. She like, no, it's cow tongue. I'm like, you could at least told me that. You could have, that was the first time you ever tried cow tongue. I'm like, you could at least told me that. But she like, if I would have told you that, you wouldn't have got your mind prepared for it. But it was still good, right? And so she ended up going to this ice cream place, bringing me ice cream. She was locking me in the room. So boom, it got nighttime. Our lights came on. It was beautiful. We was cuddling. And we were just like cuddling because the bed was so small. So we were cuddling and we just talking. And so she's rubbing her leg up against my leg.